Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today we're doing my favorite Christian fiction books of 2025. And this list was actually very easy to make this year. I really didn't have to think too hard on it, and I just think all these books are really great. And even if they're not on the list, honestly, I had a bunch of really great reads, 4+ stars all the way, but these ones all were 5 and 6 stars, and I just had to share them with you. And these aren't in any order because all of them I loved for different reasons. And yes, I really don't think I have, no, actually I lied. I do have a top favorite. So I might have to, I was gonna say put that one last, but I don't have a physical copy of it yet. So I should get it since it's only like $7 on Amazon. Like, why not get it? So we're just gonna talk about that one first, plus all the other ones that I don't have physical copies of. Then we'll get into the other ones. So the first one, which was my favorite of the year and has not been beat yet. Of course, I am filming this early. I'm filming this at the end of November, but my reading usually ends at the end of November, so I can film these videos for you guys for December. So I won't be adding any more onto this list. Next year, though, I could add them onto next year's, though. So the first one is Ember Gold by Rochelle Nelson, and this one, it's probably my top favorite read of the year. It really is. Just because it's such a beautifully told story. It mixes two of my favorite fairy tales, Beauty and the Beast and Rumpelstiltskin. You cannot get more perfect than that. I love both those stories so much. So I had such a great time with this story. Plus it has a dragon hero, which, please, you can't get better than that in a hero for me. But I just loved this story so much. The sweet romance, the friendship, definitely that Beauty and the Beast feel of like her coming to the castle and them kind of forming this friendship. And it was just such a great read. I love it. I can't wait to have it on my shelves because it's just that good. Oh, it's so great. Even if you aren't a fan of fantasy, if you love fairy tale retellings and fairy tales, you will love this book so much. To Love a Beast by Karen Whitmire. This is another Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I just love Karen Whitmire. Her fairy tale retellings are so great, and this is one of my favorite ones. This is, of course, a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this is all set in this man's kind of manor home, and he was disfigured in a pretty interesting way, if you've read the book, but he's disfigured in his face, and so he's pretty much kept as a recluse, but he decides to hire someone to rebind his books. But what he doesn't know is the bookbinder is sending his daughter instead. And so they form a friendship, and all these like cute little side characters who like are like Mrs. Potts and Lumiere and Cogsworth. They're just adorable, and I love all the characters in that book. A Hope Undaunted by Julie Lessman, and I own the ebook of this one, but I don't own a physical copy. This is actually in the middle of a series, which I did not know ahead of time, but I started reading it. The main character's name is Katie. I'm not biased because I loved the story. It's also a really long book, so I was surprised that I enjoyed a really long book. But this one was just such a unique storytelling experience. We're following a whole bunch of like different side characters from like previous books. That's why I said I need to go back and read those as well for their romances. But this one, we're following a woman who she kind of wants to make it out on her own. She wants to go to college. I think it's like the 1920s, I think. So kind of like on the verge of you know, woman going to college and stuff. And so she's like, she has her life set, everything all set. And then she runs into an old, you know, an old friend slash kind of bully that changed to a bully. At least she thinks that he did. And it's just a very incredible story, very emotional, brings down like highs and lows throughout the entire story. But I just thoroughly enjoyed that book. The Mark of the King by Jocelyn Green. I've read quite a few of her books. Okay, not that many. I think I've read 5 of her books so far. I think 4 or 5. But this one is at the top of the list. Mark of the King is such a fantastic read. I could not believe how much I love this book. It's definitely probably in the top 3. But this is about a woman who, she was a midwife, and something happened where a child passes away during one of her midwifery duties, or she works with a midwife. Well, the midwife blames her even though it wasn't her fault. And so she's pretty much, I guess, accused of witchcraft or something instead of, doing her job or whatever. So she is sent to jail. Well, there's this program that sends these prisoners over to America to, become families and like populate America. And so they actually use prisoners, male and female, to get married, like literally right before you get on the boat and go over there. And she's part of that program. And one of the most heartbreaking scenes in that book is like when everybody's told they have to go and pick a husband like within like 5 seconds. It's like so heartbreaking and so scary. Like I can't even imagine doing that, during that time. That has to be scary because who knows who you're going to end up with. I mean, these people are in jail, and hopefully you're not like, with a serial or something, like that would be so scary. So, but I loved the story. I loved the intenseness of the situation and them going to America and everything that kind of happened like in the colonies and stuff. It was such a great read. I loved it. Now we're going into the books that I actually do have on my bookshelves. So the first one, not that I don't want to own those, I just don't have them yet. But the first one is Hope Among the Pages by Pepper Basham. And I'm making my way through Pepper Basham's backlist as well because I love Pepper. She is amazing. I love her books so much. So this is Hope Between, I think I said that wrong, Hope Between the Pages. And this is actually part of the Doors to the Past series, but they're all standalones. They're all just kind of historical fiction novels. This one is set at Biltmore Manor, and I just love this story. So this one, we're following a woman named Clara, and Clara, she can't lose her 100-year-old family bookshop, and there's kind of this situation where she could lose the bookshop, and we're following it in the past with her relative on how she kind of got the bookshop. And the romance is just so sweet in this story. The North Carolina setting, I just thoroughly enjoyed this book so much. Almost everyone in the Christian fiction and booktube community is going to have one of Gabrielle Meyer's books on their list. Most likely. Maybe not everybody, but quite a few of us. And mine is Every Hour Until Then, which is book 5 in the Timeless series. And let me tell you, this is honestly probably my favorite in the series. I just loved it because this one is so different than the other ones. There's like this great kind of mystery going on where they're trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper could be. And I just was thoroughly invested in the story, trying to figure out what was going on, who did it, and I just loved it so much. So if you're interested in this series, I highly recommend starting from book 1 because you don't want to miss anything that goes on in these books because they're all really great in their own way. But Every Hour Until Then is probably my favorite. I own books 2 and 3 in this series. I don't have book 1. Book 1 is called, let me think, trying to remember. Oh no, I can't remember the title. The Huntress. The Huntress is book 1. And then we have The Viking, which is book 2, I believe, and The Raven. But these books are one of my absolute favorite series of all time. Plus the covers are gorgeous too. But this series, I believe, is all on Kindle Unlimited too, so make sure to check it out. But I just thoroughly enjoy this series so much. And all these books, I thought it was a fantasy, but it's not. It's just historical fiction set during a Viking era, and we have some beautiful romances, action, adventure, very kind of Robin Hood-esque stories, and I just had a blast reading these. They were so much fun, such great storytelling, great characters, and such wonderful faith content throughout every single book. And I think The Viking might be my favorite because I love the heroine in it. She's great. The Right Kind of Fool by Sarah Loudon Thomas. And I'm honestly a little surprised that Sarah Loudon Thomas made the list because I've read 3 of her books. The first book, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of. It was okay, but the last 2 I read by her were really good, and I decided to add this one on here, and I just loved this story. So this is about a boy who ends up finding a body in the woods, and he runs to his father who lives, he's separated from his mother, and so he runs to his father who lives deep in the woods and is trying to tell him, I found a body in the woods. And he can't tell him because I believe he's mute, or deaf. I think one of those, I can't remember. Oh, I believe he's deaf. And so he's trying to tell his father what happened, and what's going on. So his father gets involved in kind of this mystery, trying to figure out what happened to this person in the woods and what's going on, while also trying to make a new connection with his son, who he always really had a hard time connecting with. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this story. Emma's Hero by Carrie Walker. This was actually another really big surprise, honestly, because I don't know. I started getting into it, and before I knew it, I was done. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. the faith content was beautiful in here, and just the heartwarming but heartbreaking story of this single mother who is just struggling to take care of her child. So she's a single mother who is pregnant, and she finds out that her child has some kind of brain underdevelopment then that may or may not cause him to have seizures when he's born. And she tells the people at the hospital, she says, I want to keep this baby, I don't care. So she does, but the hardships this mother goes through for her baby is just so heartbreaking. But it's also a story of resilience, of faith, and also the fact that God sends you such amazing people to encourage you. And I love the EMT guy and the teenager that comes into her life. It's just such a sweet story, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Grandma Ruth Doesn't Go to Funerals by Sharon Mondragon. So this is one of my favorite books of the year because it's such a weird title, but like it's also kind of lighthearted too. So we're following a girl named Mary, and Mary Ruth, and she can't go to hospitals anymore because she's bedridden. So she tells her granddaughter to go to these funerals because that was her duty, Mary Ruth's duty, to go to all these funerals. And she wants kind of the gossip to come back from those funerals. Even though she doesn't like gossip, she doesn't call it gossip, but that's what it is. So just following kind of the antics of her grandmother who's in bed, trying to tell her to go to these different places and stuff. And there's a little bit of romance too, but it's very lighthearted, and I thoroughly enjoy this story. Land of Dreams by Lorraine Snelling and Kirsty Gueron. This is book 1 in Home to Green Creek's trilogy series. I don't know if it's a trilogy yet, but I really did like this one a lot. We're following a woman from Norway, and she immigrates to America. But on the way there, she makes friends with this one lady who has a young daughter, and the lady passes away and asks the girl to take care of her daughter. And she's like, I have no idea, like I'm not even a wife or mother myself. And so, but she does take care of the daughter, and they go to this bed and breakfast, I guess, where the little girl is going to end up inheriting that bed and breakfast. Well, they get there, and there's this very grouchy, grumpy, not so nice relative of the little girl's that kind of wants a bed and breakfast for herself since she's been taking care of it for the past couple of years. So thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so good. I'm sorry I keep saying thoroughly enjoyed it, but all these books are really, really good. Next book is The Glory of Light by Hannah Hood Lacero, and I'm really enjoying her books. I've read a few of hers this year, and I think this is my favorite so far. But this is kind of a military-esque thriller, and in this one, we're following a woman who is in like special ops, and she has to go undercover at a college to try to figure out what's going on, and something's going to happen. There's also some really great faith content in this book as well. And there is a romance, but it's an age gap romance, but in reverse. Like the guy's I think 23 or 24, and she's 28 or something like that. So it's not a huge gap romance, but I thought it was kind of interesting that they had an older girl and a younger boy instead. Dream Teller by Katie D. Shade. This has already won so many awards for this book. This is the author's debut novel, and let me tell you, there's a reason why. This is such a fantastic story. I loved this book so much. So it's a little bit of like a Daniel/Jonathan retelling, I believe, in the Bible, and it's so good. So it is a fantasy book. There's not really a whole lot of magic though. There is only this woman who has visions, so it's not really magic. But she has visions of the true heir to the throne, and she is heir to the throne, but she sees visions of this baby. So she's trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. It's also kind of a little bit of a Robin Hood retelling as well, but I really enjoyed it. I loved the romance in this story, but I loved the storytelling, and I would definitely reread this again. It was really, really good. On the back it says Rebels, Assassins, and a Missing Heir. So it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. Echoes of a Silent Song by Amanda Wen. I will say, look up the trigger warnings for this book because it is a very emotional read on this one. But in this one, we're following 2 different timelines. And in one, we're following a music teacher and also the girl who is kind of the chorus instructor, and also the woman who plays the piano for the chorus. So we're following both of them, and they find a song somewhere in the archives of the school with no name on it. So they start playing it and they realize how beautiful this song is, but who wrote it? They have no clue. And so we're following in the past on how this song was created. And it's such a moving story, but it is very, very heartbreaking. It does deal with depression throughout a little bit, and as well as some heartbreaking stuff. So I will just say that if you want to know the trigger warnings, I will happily put them in the comments for whoever asks or whatever. But it is such a great story, and I love the music aspect of it with the chorus and everything and the singing, and I just really enjoyed the story. Now we're on to the last 3 books. The first one is A Line of Fire by Taylor S. Newport. This is book 1 in a series. I don't know what the series is called, but I really enjoyed this one. I like this one because there was so much action. If you really like Mission Impossible kind of Liam Neeson movies, and you'll really enjoy Line of Fire. I feel like it's great for men and women to read. Really enjoyed it. I believe there's no romance in this one, but like there's slightly getting more romance as we go into the next book in the series, because I read book 2. But book 1, I really enjoyed a lot more than book 2. I just really enjoyed the action and the storyline. So in this one, we're following a man who is, again, like in secret ops type of situation. And he gets charged to find like this serum, I guess, that can help soldiers like continue on when they're wounded and stuff. Well, bad guys also want it, of course, so he goes in search of the person who created it in order to protect her. But things don't go as planned, and so I really did enjoy the action of it all, and I think this is on Kindle Unlimited too, so that's always nice to know. Last 2 books I have. The first one is My Dear Miss Dupree by Grace Hitchcock. She's also becoming one of my favorite authors. I just love her stories. They're funny, they're sweet, they're lighthearted, historical romance, rom-com styles. And this one so far is one of my favorites. And this one following a woman Willow, who is going to be inheriting like her father's sugar refinery because he's retiring. But because of that era, they don't really like women taking over businesses. So she's tasked to find a husband before she's able to take over the business. So it's kind of a bachelorette type situation where we have a ton of suitors vying for Willow's affections, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And there's a few guys that were pretty great for her, but of course she only ends up with one of them. Then the last book I have is Hearts Away by Shannon Sue Dunlap, which is one of my favorite books of the year, and definitely in the top like 5. I thoroughly enjoyed Hearts Away. And this one we're continuing from Love Overboard, which is about these wonderful older generation women who live on this cruise ship, who kind of delve into and dally into the love lives of the people who work on the cruise ship. And I love these ladies so much, their stories, their humor. It's just a great fun time, and I thoroughly enjoyed book 2. So those are all the books I enjoyed in Christian fiction for 2025. Let me know some of your favorites for this year. I would love to know down in the comments, because maybe I haven't read it yet and I can put it on my list for next year to try to read. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.